Hey folks, welcome to the Remote Professional Network. We post online jobs, remote jobs, and work from home jobs on our online job board. So let's go ahead and dive into the couple positions today. Today we're going to be covering a bunch of data entry jobs. So if you're into data entry, no phone jobs, stick around for these ones. We will give you instructions on how to apply to these at the end of each job and at the end of the video as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive into these. This is going to be a data entry clerk position in the United States. This is a full-time position, so you're going to be working 40 hours per week, $18 to $20 per hour. If we scroll down here a little bit, we can see that, again, data entry position. This is going to be a 6-month contract, and if you work well, they're going to hire you at the end. All right, so they're looking for, again, a remote worker in the United States. You're going to be working the Eastern time zone. That does not mean that you have to live in the Eastern time zone. But do note that if you live on the West Coast, you are going to be waking up a little bit early. So keep that in mind for this one. They are looking for 2 to 4 years of data entry experience, back-end document processing, Microsoft Suite, Outlook, Word, Excel, computer proficiency, high school diploma, etc. And they are, again, they just kind of list again, the requirements they're looking for. Keep in mind, guys, that 2 to 4 years of data entry experience, that could be a lot of different tasks that you have been completing in jobs that you've had in the past. So as long as you were entering data and managing data in any type of form, you can list that as your experience, guys, right? You don't have to have been doing it full time, full blast. You can definitely say if you had some kind of, office administrator position, you worked with Excel, maybe you managed some data for customers, clients in the past, definitely include that in your experience. Back-end document processing is really just managing documents, guys. This is not a hard task. So you can, if you've ever worked with documents, managing them, saving them in files, managing document libraries, you can definitely put that down as well. My guess is, again, they're going to look more for this experience as opposed to back-end document processing experience. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit easier to teach than this one. And again, this is going to be from Dices. This is a staffing company. They typically do post a decent amount of data entry positions for us, so definitely this is a reliable one. Go ahead, apply to this one. Again, $18 to $20 per hour. Pretty good, pretty solid range for data entry. And again, if you want to improve your chances, guys, of landing one of these data entry jobs, they're going to be very competitive. A lot of people don't want to work on the phone. This is going to be the one you want to list your experience in. If you want to go the extra mile, if you learn a little bit of SQL or SQL, go ahead and Google that. It is a computer language, and it is used a lot in the data side of things, okay? So if you have Excel experience and SQL, and you land this first job, you'll get some experience, and combining that experience in the future, you can definitely command over 100 grand at some point, okay? So let's go ahead and move on. We have another data entry clerk position with Dices. All right, this one is going to be, again, in the United States, data entry clerk, fully remote work from home job in the United States. This is going to be $17 to $20 per hour. It says annually, so we'll have to change that. So definitely you will not be making $17 a year. This is going to be per hour, okay? So basically the same range as the other one. Let's go ahead and look into the requirements now. This is going to be a contract of 3 months. And they said that they have 100% conversion or extension from this company. So if you work these 3 months, do a great job, they're going to hire you at the end as well, similar to the last one we just went over. Okay. They are looking for preferred candidates. Data entry clerk, they just enter this so that they pick up more keywords, guys, so you don't have to worry about any of this. But if you had a title similar to any of this, definitely might pique their interest a little bit more. The day-to-day responsibilities, answering phone calls. So do note that this one is going to involve answering calls. So this one is not a no phone job. If you're looking for a no phone job, go back to that first job we just covered. There's no phone work involved with that one. With that being said, if you are not applying to phone jobs because you just don't want to, I might encourage you to apply to this one. The reason being, if you work this for a year or even your 3 months, you can then go ahead and put data entry specialist on your resume, and that's going to make your life much easier moving forward, applying to non-phone data entry positions, right? If you already have the experience, you're going to have an easier time getting a data entry job. So that might be something to consider. Again, if you're not able to work on the phone, definitely revert back to that first job that we just spoke about. There is no phone work involved in that one. Moving on though, they want you to answer phone calls, follow back up with the client, process pension payment, enter data into the pension system, track ongoing cases, etc. And then basically as far as other skills, they want, basically your soft skills, professionalism, quick learner, taking the initiative. Basically, they want you to be able to manage yourself. And again, this is going to be in every single data entry job that you apply to, guys. If you don't have experience with working with Excel, guys, you definitely need to get that experience, especially in the data entry world, right? That's where you're going to be working with almost all the time. You can put Google Sheets down on as experience, but most folks that work with data, they're going to be working with Excel. It's just a lot easier to handle large amounts of data with Excel. So, again, if you don't have experience with Excel, check out this video. We recommended a couple places that you can go to get certifications, training. We're not affiliated with this at all. This is just, training that you can do, and it should be free. Okay, the other thing you can do as well, you can just hop on YouTube. You can search for Microsoft Excel training for beginners and start there, okay? We will also, we'll go ahead and we'll look for a video on YouTube and post it in the community tab. So I will find a good one that you can reference in the future as well, okay? They also want you to have computer proficiency, organization skills, data entry experience, back-end document processing, etc. They want you to have a high school degree or GED, and they prefer a bachelor's degree. They are looking for someone who has experience, preferably in finance and accounting or banking. Guys, in my opinion, they're going to be just looking for, if they can find somebody with data entry experience, they're not going to care too much about this stuff. So definitely, if you have a little bit of data entry experience, highlight that in your resume. Again, just like we said in the last job, you don't have to have had to work as a data entry clerk, operator, specialist to have data entry experience. You probably did data entry work in a previous job, and maybe you just didn't realize it. So think back to your other positions that you've had, right? Data entry involves working with large sets of data. If you've ever worked with Excel, managed some client information, you probably have some data entry experience. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next position is going to be a data entry clerk for tiles for less. So this is going to be another United States full-time position, full-time remote position. There is no salary information here, guys, but I'm going to guess that this is going to be rough. It seems like data entry work is roughly, the rough rate is about $15 to $20 per hour. So I would guess this one's going to be about the same. Okay, so we're not going to cover out a ton of information here, guys. It's pretty basic stuff. They want you to have your soft skills, and they want you to have basically the same, requirements as the last couple jobs. They want you to create accurate spreadsheets, update the information, ensure the data is backed up, and so on. This one looks like it's a little bit less intense than the other jobs. This one looks a little bit more entry-level friendly. If you don't have experience really doing much of anything, maybe you're just coming out of college, high school, or something like that, this might be the job for you. Or if you're looking just to really get your feet wet in the data entry, maybe you haven't worked with computers at all, this one looks a little bit friendlier. So this one might be for you guys. All right, we're going to move on to the next position. This is Wilberforce College. This is going to be another data entry clerk position for the United States. This is a remote full-time job. We can see here the responsibilities. They want you to handle and coordinate active calendars, schedule and confirm meetings, ensure file organization based on office protocol, ad hoc support around the office as needed. Again, when they say around the office, they just mean virtually, so you don't have to worry about that. Qualifications, they would like you to have a bachelor's degree for this one. They'd like you to have soft skills. They want you to be able to multitask and proficient in Microsoft Office Suite. So again, that's just Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. All right, so again, guys, if you're at this point in the video and you're sitting here going, man, I don't have any Excel experience with Microsoft Excel, and you want a data entry position, I would say stop what you're doing right now. Pause your application process. If you're dead set on data entry positions, you need to focus on getting some experience in Microsoft Excel. All right, because if you don't have that on your application, and these other 100, 200, 300 applications do have it, you're not going to be considered for it, right? We try to be realistic on this channel and help you guys. If you don't have Excel experience, Microsoft Power BI, Smartsheet or something, or experience working with this software, you're going to have a rough time getting a job in the data entry. Once you do have it, though, you should have a much easier time, and it's really not that difficult, guys. So again, we will post the link in the community tab. We'll try to find some good resources for you guys there, okay? All right, and then the last job we have here is going to be a data entry clerk for foot and ankle specialist. This is a full-time remote position. What they're going to want you to do is gather invoices, statements, reports, personal details, etc. from employees and other departments and clients, scan through information to identify pertinent information, correct errors, etc., create accurate spreadsheets, back up the data, and so on, okay? So definitely this is going to wrap it up for us today, guys. You're going to be able to find all these jobs at remoteprofessionalnetwork.com. If you didn't see a job for you, we are an online job board. We have a ton of other jobs that you can go ahead and search. Whoops. Right, Mr. Beast posted on our job board the other day. We have Victoria's Secret looking for seasonal candidates, Live Nation, and way more options, guys. So even if you're international, we have a couple of job options for you. Guest relations in the United Kingdom, guest relations in Australia, and more. So we will see you next time, guys. Don't forget, check the community tab. We're going to post some information there so that you can use that to land one of these data entry positions, okay? We'll see you next time.